All right, we have a special edition here of Mountaineer Report brought to you by West Virginia Sports Now, available everywhere you get your podcasts and, of course, throughout the Sports Now family of networks. Mike Asti, Griffin Floyd here of West Virginia Sports Now, preparing for our coverage of the baseball team in Omaha, now in their first ever College World Series. And we are joined by the governor of the great state of West Virginia, Governor Patrick Morrisey. So, Governor, thanks for joining us here. We're going to talk about, of course, the Mountaineers headed to Omaha and in the College World Series and the impact on the state. But I see that great background there behind you, and happy to have you on.
Hey, it's good to be with you today. And I can say I'm pretty excited because the Mountaineers are on a real run. This is
Yeah.
epic, to be in the final eight in such an important sport. I think it's really firing up a lot of people around West Virginia. So I've had the pleasure I've seen this team over the last number of years, been up to a number of games, and obviously been at the tournament for 3 games already
Yeah.
this year. So Omaha should be a blast.
Yeah, I saw you were recording some videos up there. You were doing some media work of your own.
Yeah. Well,
So,
yeah. Listen, hey, we got to share the spirit because I'm a big believer that when WVU sports do well, when
yeah,
Marshall sports do well, to be blunt, it's incredible for the state of West Virginia because you get to
yeah,
tell your story,
yeah,
and we have a lot of wonderful things to tell people across the country. And why not marry it with America's team?
yeah.
Steve Saban has put together a wonderful group of kids,
Yeah.
and I think they're going to capture the hearts of people across the country.
Yeah, you definitely can call them America's team. That definitely would fit, and
Yeah,
they have captured the hearts across the country. They have really made the country aware of what's going on at WVU and West Virginia, and really even aware of things that have been going on. The Singing Country Roads After Winds, that's been going on
yeah,
for a while, but now the whole country is aware because of what Steve Saban's team is doing. So obviously, that's been a great boom for the program, for the school, for the university,
yeah.
and for the state. So to dive in and unpack that a little bit more, obviously West Virginia was able to host the regional and also the
Right.
super regional with the way it shook out with UCLA being eliminated early. They were able to host one more than maybe anyone would have thought, and now they're going to Omaha. From what you know from just either the economic impact, the promotional impact, or whatever, what really has that impact been for the state of West Virginia and even WVU in general? Because this is a unique run to get to Omaha, a 16 seed, first time ever for the program in its history, and hosting both the regional and super regional to get there. So it's been the best of all worlds to this point.
Well, it really has. And I think if you look at the impact on West Virginia, you almost have to break it down into a couple areas. One, there's the immediate local impact on tourism and revenue. People coming to visit, spending money, going out to restaurants,
Yeah.
going to the game, staying in hotels, and really all of the economic activities around 4,600 people coming to be in the stadium around that. So
Yeah.
that's number one. Number two, you've got kind of the longer term issues of the marketing, the PR. When people are talking about WVU baseball, you're not only getting coverage on a local level, you're getting a lot of national attention for what WVU is doing.
Yeah.
And you get to tell the story about here's a program that was so moribund, many, many years ago. And then between Macy and Saban's,
Mhm.
they've really taken it to the highest possible level, where now we're talking about them having a real solid chance of winning the
Yeah.
national championship. Pretty unbelievable. That, I think, has a special type of marketing value where people get to see what baseball, what sports means to the
Yeah.
citizens of West Virginia. I think it really exemplifies that in West Virginia, we're all family. We all come together. It doesn't take long for you to figure out who you're 2 levels removed from someone in West Virginia, maybe 7 levels removed in another place.
Yeah.
But I think sports brings people together. I like it because it takes away the normal nonsense, the partisanship, and everyday life, and has people focus on happy things, which is Mountaineers winning and how people are taking pride in our wonderful state.
Yeah, and Governor, you kind of mentioned the bipartisanship of this, and that's something that's really important in this day and age because there's so few things out there that are just kind of about what's going on and don't get
Yeah.
wrapped up in politics. But if you've seen the reaction, and I'm sure you have all across the country, people all over watching West Virginia fans, players, alums, etc., sing country roads after a win has become something that the furthest right Republican and the
Yeah.
furthest left liberal have all just joined hands and just been loving and appreciating. And that's really an incredible thing. It's very difficult to put something together like that in this day and age. And this run by the Mountaineers has. Griffin, if anything for the governor here?
Yeah, you were talking about the marketing side of things. I know that in a lot of the other college tournaments, men's and women's basketball particularly, they'll have those kind of dedicated local ad runs on the national broadcasting.
Yeah.
This is this university, this is what we've got going on in the area. Do you guys have anything in the tank yet for to use the national broadcast to promote West Virginia?
Yeah, we are looking into that, so I won't tip it off right now, but
Okay.
we're always looking to expand our reach. And one thing for people to know, part of the reason why you want more people to come in and attend your university and expand the enrollment at WVU is that we get more people to stay here in our state. We're a population that needs to grow. We need net migration. So we want to welcome people from all across the country to come in. And this is a great opportunity to sell that on the national stage. And so, yes, we are looking at different ways to do that. I think one thing which is very, very cool is that, McAfee's going to be out there
Yeah.
before the game. He's having his show. You know that what that means. I mean, probably the biggest sports show that exists out there. And for him to put that much time into WVU sports makes a real big difference. So, yeah, I think part of what is important is how we brand this and talk about it. But at the same time, I think naturally having everyone watch what happens with WVU, that country roads, a singing that occurs,
Yeah.
that's natural. It's good. It's authentic. It's not something you see at games. So none of this is make believe. These are a bunch of high quality kids. And
Yeah.
by the way, a lot of them, they were not all the blue chippers coming out of high school. You know this. We've got some Division II, Division III guys, people come out of junior college.
Yeah.
We have people that were on the bench for a good part of the year. You think of Lumsden that comes in and he lights out, when you get to a crunch time. So there's so much excitement here and people can feel it and they can see how West Virginians come together working with themselves. And that's a great message for our whole country.
Yeah, and the whole collective has really been the embodiment of college sports and what it's supposed to be. And of course, in this day and age, that's kind of been murky waters with what's going on. But this has really been that full-on college atmosphere. Certainly when they hosted the regional and super regional, you mentioned McAfee being there. He mentioned on his show the other day that it was one of the most rocking atmospheres that he's ever experienced. And obviously he's experienced a lot of atmospheres. And that was his first college baseball game that he ever attended, even going back to when he was a student. And as you mentioned, the program wasn't as successful as it is now when he was a student, and the football team was so great. So that's all a part of this too, for sure.
Well, what's really cool is that this team has it all. So they were the cardiac kids during the regional.
Yeah.
I went to the last game with Kentucky, and I went to the Binghamton game as well. And if you're at that game, you could feel the emotion of what happened with all those pitches when Kentucky was threatening to score, and how we had people coming in and they shut him down. It was the guy who pitched 14 pitches after going 107 or 110 pitches the day before. Like this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So you have the cardiac kids part of it, but then you have the utter dominance displayed when you win 12-2 and 18-1. That the pitching has been lights out. Chanson and Max and Korn and these guys are incredible. And then the hitting, all at the right times. And that's why I think this is a real special team that they can kill you in a lot of different ways. And that's fun to watch.
Yeah, and they have a real shot. I mean, when you look at the path forward and you look at what's happened so far and the way they're playing, they have a real shot for sure. Mountaineer Report here, Griffin Floyd, Mike Asti, West Virginia Sports Now, a special edition of the show previewing our coverage of the Mountaineers in the College World Series here with Governor Patrick Morrisey. Now, obviously, everything going on with the baseball program is a major plus for the state, for the program, whether it be
Yeah.
financially, promotional wise, etc. But and athletic director Ren Baker did have to touch on this topic a couple weeks earlier that in this day and age of college sports, as you know, the real revenue generators, win or lose, are the football and men's basketball program. And around West Virginia athletics right now, not just baseball, the Rifle winning a national title, women's basketball
Yeah.
hosting as well, which was great for the area. Success
Sure.
all around, soccer. But right now, the football program is still building it back up under Rich Rod after going 4-8. The men's program won the crown, but they didn't get in the NCAA tournament, which is where you want to be. Do you have any concern about the future of these programs of baseball if the other programs can't get back to being national contenders? That if ever there would have to be a time where you would take from baseball to make football great again, or any of that? Because Bren Baker did have to admit that for the program to be successful as a whole, as a department, and the state in general, football and men's basketball are going to have to get back going again. Even he doesn't want to take from baseball, but any concern or any weariness that could occur. We are seeing programs across the country get cut, or Marshall had a conversation about the swimming and diving that ended up going the other way not too long
Yeah.
ago. Even if they're successful to make football and men's basketball great, this is not sustainable forever unless football gets going. Any worry that what we're seeing now, this national championship contention, could go away if football doesn't get going, or if they would need to do something money wise to add it to football or that part of this?
Look, I think you can always say we're 1 or 2 years in with some of these new coaches, and
Sure.
I'm very optimistic about them. I think we've got some really solid coaches, and you don't generally walk in year one and turn everything
Yeah.
around.
Right.
But I think you're going to see real improvement with the football team this year and the basketball team. Just it's challenging to walk in at the 11th hour and have to
Yeah.
put a whole team together, right? And
Yeah.
that happened both in football and in
Yeah. Rich Rod
basketball.
showed up in
Uh,
December. Right.
so that makes it
100%.
real difficult. So I don't think you can really judge the year one. At the same time, I would say this: WVU has an incredible tradition in both of these areas,
Yeah.
and we fell on some tough times, but there are the seeds for rebirth that come up when you start to hear the conversations. We know that you have the Big 12 contract, the TV contract coming up in a couple of years. There
Mhm.
probably is going to be some additional changes in terms of college sports and NIL. And anytime there's change, there's an opportunity, quite frankly, to be entrepreneurial
Yeah.
and to grow. I think Ren Baker's doing a good job on the fundraising and pulling a lot of these
Yeah.
pieces together. So that's positive. So look, we have to let these things play out the way they do, but these seem like real terrific coaches who are exciting the fan base. People are fired up. And I say you always give these people a wonderful chance. And I feel very good that they're going to make real improvements and come through. So call me an optimist, but I do think that the history of
Yeah.
WVU and then the future, whether we're talking the new stadium down the line, whether we're talking the Big 12 media rights contract, when all of that
Yeah. The West
develops,
Tower at the football
yeah,
stadium.
I
Yeah. That's
think
going to be
that's
a
going to
revenue
lead to
generator.
even bigger
Yeah.
and better things. And we're just beginning. So I'm optimistic.
For sure.
I'll jump in real quick. After, I believe it was the Sunday games in the regional, perhaps it was Monday, but West Virginia baseball head coach Steve Sabins compared his team to the New York Yankees just in terms of being the professional team of the state that doesn't have one. What's your take on that and just the importance of college athletics to West Virginia as a whole?
Listen, I'm no offense. Saban's a great coach, but we should not ever be looking up to the New York Yankees. That's not a New York Yankees fan, but I will say this:
Okay.
this is everything for West Virginia. So We don't have the pro teams, and we are America's team. So I think we should just anoint ourselves America team. They used to say it's the Dallas Cowboys in pro football, right?
Yeah.
They would talk about the Yankees. Let's just be college baseball America's team. And I think that's the analogy that we put out there. But it does mean so much. I can tell you this, after the game, I come down and I'm walking around and everyone's saying, hey, did you see what happened with the game? Hey, did you see the 5-run rally in the ninth? Were you there? I'm like, yeah, I was there. And people are so fired up about it. And you remember those moments for the rest of your life. I remember I used to be a tennis umpire, and I remember being at the finals of the U.S. Open. These are things you remember. Sports creates memories that bring people together and that bind them. And West Virginia is having a moment, and that unites so many people across the state. So it's fun.
Yeah, and I think that hits the nail on the head too, because regardless of how this finishes, regardless of whether they win the national title or lose right away, this run is going to be remembered by West Virginians, by WVU alums all across the country, whether they're still in West Virginia or not, forever. And if this program would not win this year's national championship, but win one in the future, this season is going to get credited for leading it that way. And even obviously the years under Randy Mazey, and then even the recent regional championships before now winning one a super regional under Steve Saban. So this is going to be an important season under the umbrella of West Virginia baseball and really the overall athletic department forever, no matter how much it finishes. Now, Governor Morrisey, I do want to touch on one more thing before we let you go, unless Griffin has something as well. Now, if you notice the bracket, it's kind of interesting and kind of a little fun. A little fans are getting excited about a possible matchup. If West Virginia gets by Troy, they would face the winner of Ole Miss, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a little kind of weird rivalry brewing between the Mountaineers and Tar Heels just because of what happened a few years ago with the college basketball snub of the NCAA tournament and the men's team. You were very outspoken that year on feeling the men's team should have got into the field and that being a snub. Any conversations you've had with North Carolina's governor? Any just going back and forth? Any circling that? Like, does that matchup intrigue you? Any ill will still there to North Carolina in general because of what happened a few years ago? Would that mean more to you to get by them?
Well, look, I will say this. We know that we got involved after that snub happened, and then they changed the rules, right? So that you don't have the same conflict of interest, which is what I wanted to do all along. So I feel good that that's been resolved. But I'm a believer in the school of one game at a time. So right now we have Troy to face. People want to take them lightly. I don't. They played a lot of really tough teams, had a really brutal schedule. They're hot right now. So their bats are really hitting the ball very, very solid. So I would say this. I want them to win game one, and then game on. I don't care who they face. What matters most is advance. And I think the key is, you guys know, it gets said too often, but you got to win the first two games. And if you win the first two games, wow, then you're in a great position. Your pitching is lined up. But I we'd love it. Given what happened at the Super Regionals a couple of years ago with North Carolina, you'd love to face it and get that revenge. But at the same time, whoever we play now is really, really good. Whether you're talking Ole Miss, Troy, once again, Troy is hot right now. So you wouldn't want to take anything for granted. I'm just hopeful that we can keep winning. And that means win the first game, win the next game. And then, wow, can you imagine if we can take that third and we can get into the finals? Then I think you're going to see West Virginia just respond in a way they never have, and it's been a very, very long time.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it doesn't matter. Yeah, if you win the national championship, I don't think anyone's going to care who you do it against, who you face, how you get there. Every team right now can beat anybody. These are very, very good teams. Little untraditional field based on normal blue bloods that are there, but Troy certainly can win. Yeah, that's what you have in front of you. And it might also be a little, maybe it's destiny in a way, because West Virginia did, as you mentioned earlier, they did get revenge over Kentucky for Kentucky eliminating the women's basketball team after they hosted in Morgantown. The baseball team got that revenge. So maybe this is 3 years in the making. Who knows? It'd be a perfect story here. We are going to let you go. Griffin, I don't know if you have any final question for the governor, and then we'll let him go.
One last thing. You mentioned following the team over the past couple of years. obviously the past 2 weekends have been incredible to watch, but was there a moment before that that really stuck with you as a spectator of WVU baseball?
I think part of it is just the consistency of the program. When you're in contention to win the Big 12 year after year and you're solid, I think we lost the regular season championship by a game over Kansas. I was following that throughout. When you see that you have a coach who's been in it, head coach for 2 years, and this year, we're 45 wins. He was over 40 last year, right? This is a remarkable and historic start to a career. Quite frankly, it starts to make you look, what happened with Signetti in IU football, where they come right in and they kill it. It's a little bit of that this guy fits the state and the program so well. So I would argue it's the consistency that you're seeing, the excellence, and also there's really been a nurturing of a lot of these players. Think about this. In a couple years, you're not only going to be able to talk about one player in MLB. Weatherholt may get the Rookie of the Year, and he's a heck of a player. But you look at who we have in the pipeline, we're going to have a top 10 draft pick. We're going to have pitchers that are going to go all the way and get drafted and probably play in the pros. So it's a consistency of the program, and so much of it is coaching. That's the part that I really look at. And also, I will tell you, I love that park. I've stayed at that hotel across the way, and I've probably been to about 8 or 10 games overall at that park over the years. It's something that's a treasure in the community. And so you're seeing a real dedication in West Virginia to that area and to baseball. And that's what makes it special.
Yeah, I will tell you, I was a student about a decade and a half ago, and ballpark-wise, that's already a big increase to what it was with Holly Field. I mean, that's been well documented. I mean, just the environment, the ballpark might need to increase the seating, but you got people on the hill. But that's been a conversation that Ren Baker's brought up and McAfee's brought up because of what just happened here. So, Governor, we appreciate the time, and I also will imagine that if this program pulls off a national championship, or maybe regardless on how historic this season has been, that there'll be a few parades around the state of West Virginia. Maybe they're deserving of
there'll be probably a lot more than that.
Yeah,
I'm
down the street somewhere.
Parades, but there'll be a lot going on in the next few weeks and months ahead. This is exciting, and we just got to go out and win one game at a time. But I like our chances.
Yeah, Governor, I appreciate the time then. Again, Governor Morrisey joining us here on Mountaineer Report. West Virginia Sports Now is our coverage as the Mountaineers are headed to Omaha. They're there now, headed to Omaha for the first ever trip in the College World Series. Thanks, Governor.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Good stuff.
Yeah, that was pretty good. All right. Report. Yeah, and that will do it for this edition of Mountaineer Report here. Again, made possible by West Virginia Sports Now. Thanks to Governor Morrisey, Griffin Floyd, Mike Asti here. Stay with WVSN for all of our coverage, either on the site, throughout social media, or wherever else. Again, West Virginia in the College World Series for the first time, and the path is there for a national championship.